Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of my podcast, which I'm calling E01 or You Learn. I'm Dylan Haskin, and this is episode 1. So why did I start this podcast? Well, entrepreneurship is kind of known for being quite like a lonely journey, and oftentimes I feel like I'm looking for people who are also in the same like boat as me, who have maybe also recently started their business, maybe in the last 2 years, and they're still new at it and learning along the way. And I feel like me putting this content out there might be helpful to someone else who is in the same position, and that I can share like what I'm learning as I'm going along, and that potentially that might add some value, but also build a bit of a community around what we as entrepreneurs are trying to do. The second reason is that a lot of the content that I like to watch on YouTube or on like podcast platforms is they're not from South Africa. So they are international entrepreneurs, and that's all inspiring and everything like that too. However, there's a lot of obviously like differences that we go through here in South Africa that maybe isn't exactly relevant, or that we don't find content about that. So I feel like me sharing my journey about building a business here in South Africa maybe is helpful to someone else out there. Then the other reason why I want to do this, and it's maybe more for me, is that I want to practice speaking. I have a speech impediment, and it's sort of been this thing throughout my life. And oftentimes I feel like it holds me back from speaking, firstly, or sharing my thoughts and ideas. And this podcast is almost a challenge to myself to be consistently talking and sharing. And hopefully, at least for me, the more I do it, the better and the more comfortable I'll get at speaking. What is this podcast going to be about then? So the first part is going to be about me sharing my journey in entrepreneurship, in running the business. We run a marketing agency with content creation. So I will talk about things that I learn about those specific fields, about marketing, about social media things, but also about what I learn about dealing with clients, how to get clients. We have employees. So for the last year and a half, we've had employees. Before that, I've never had that before. So it's been a completely new experience. So maybe talking about what that's been like and the challenges we've had around having employees and the stresses and the really cool things about having employees, how we are trying to build our company culture, all those type of things. The second part of the podcast that I would like to do is to invite other people onto the platform, and that will be other entrepreneurs, other people who have run businesses, and specifically here in South Africa, and in the beginning, I think even more local to Cape Town, to ask them about their experience and things that they have learned, and basically to try and extract as much value out of them on things that could help you on your entrepreneurial journey. The name You Win or You Learn is something that I feel is a part of entrepreneurship. If you are getting it right all the time, you aren't learning. So when you win, you got it right, but it's most likely because you learned something or it was complete luck. So if you lose, meaning you got something wrong, you failed, you're trying to figure something out, it didn't work out, there's opportunity to learn there. And I think that's sort of like the base mindset of being an entrepreneur, is that failure is the path to success, or like you need to fail. Sometimes I almost feel like I go out to look to fail so that I can learn from it. So I'll be like, how do I get a client? I don't know. Let's try. It failed. And then I ask myself, okay, what can I learn about that? What could I do better next time? So the whole idea of that there's only winning or learning is sort of the idea of this podcast, and the reason why I called it that. Okay, and then to end this off, I thought I'll just give a brief history. I'll keep it super brief of who I am and how I got to be where I currently am. So long story short, I grew up in nature conservation. My dad worked for Cape Nature, and we moved around a lot to different nature reserves, mostly in the Western Cape. I was homeschooled for a while. I went to high school in Swellendam, which is a small town up the Garden Route, kind of, more Overberg, I suppose, area. And then after school, I studied software engineering in Cape Town. I went and did that for 6 years. The first year that I did that, I realized I don't think I can do this forever. after about 3 years of working in IT, I started doing photography on the side until the point where I could quit my IT job and only do photography. Then my wife and I, Megan, in 2015, we went overseas. She got a position overseas, so we went overseas and we lived abroad for about 5 years. When we came back just before COVID, we didn't actually know COVID was happening, but we came back just before it was happening. So it was pretty good timing. So at that point, I had been doing photography and video. And what I kind of started to realize that was a lot of my clients don't just need a video, they actually need help with what to do with the video. And I started to also question, sometimes they would ask for a video, but I would be thinking, but why do they think they need a video? And that's sort of how the marketing thing started to come in, where I sort of realized that a lot of clients need a lot more help with marketing than they do necessarily with making content. Or at least that's what I started to enjoy about what I was doing with clients, was actually helping them achieve their goals as opposed to just giving them a piece of content. So my wife and I joined forces. She had then stopped teaching and I started a Pinterest marketing business, basically specializing in Pinterest. And we started to reach out to South African clients. Also, some of the Pinterest clients that we had asked if we could do some of the other platforms. So it started to grow. We started to get employees. And now we run the business from here in South Africa, where we still have a lot of the Pinterest clients, but we also now have social media marketing clients, content creation. So sometimes the client might just be only needing content, and sometimes they're needing us to manage their accounts. So we provide consultations and content and like strategy advice. And then obviously, because of my background in filming, I still have some clients which I just do filming for. But overall, we're a small marketing agency based here in Cape Town, South Africa, who works with local businesses, but also with international clients as well. So that is the end of the first episode. I'm looking forward to sharing with you. I'm going to try to make this a weekly thing. So we'll see how that goes. My one question is to you is, if you are a small business owner or a business owner or an entrepreneur here in the Cape Town area, if you would like to be a guest on this episode to basically share your journey, share the lessons that you've learned specifically, things that you think would help almost like your younger self, please reach out. I would love to hear from you and start putting these interview episodes together, because I think that's where people will get a lot of like value out of. The other question is to people maybe who are running a business but maybe don't want to be a guest, is what kinds of things would you like to hear on this? What things are you having a hard time with? What are you struggling with? What is the biggest challenge for you as an entrepreneur here in South Africa? All right. Thank you very much for listening. And that is the end of this episode. I will see you guys next week in episode